Hello and welcome to Wednesday's Wellness Tip. I'm Julie Crane and thank you for joining me today. We are continuing on in our mini-series Nutrition 101, and today we're in part 11 and we'll be finishing up our discussion on enzymes. I've taken 3 different ones of these episodes to talk about enzymes, and that's because they are so important. So I can't emphasize how much enzymes are important to our gut health and again to our brain-gut connection. When our guts aren't working well, then we're going to see that in our brain function. So that's why I'm spending so much time on this and really hopefully driving it home how important it is. Now again, enzymes are a key to optimal health. And when we are depleted in our enzymes, we're going to begin to experience gut issues. So we talked last week about what the early signs are of gut issues. And they included things like the food-related fatigue, or in other words, you have lunch and then in an hour or so, you just have to lay down and take a nap because you're so tired. So it's that fatigue that follows eating. Other early signs are things like indigestion, gas, bloating, excessive burping, upset stomach, diarrhea, and any symptom that you might be ready to reach for an antacid or an acid blocking type medication to ease the discomfort. So, again, many symptoms, and these are all early signs that your enzyme tank is close to depletion. Now, I shared the problems last time with taking an antacid or an acid blocker, but I just want to reiterate that again, is the biggest problem with using those kind of medications is they actually stop the digestive process. Now, they'll ease your symptoms, so that's probably why you continue to reach out for them, is because you'll take them and they'll stop the pain. But that's because, again, they're a medication and they're developed to treat symptoms. So they stop what's causing the symptoms, which is the digestion. But the problem is that they will cause further problems now because you have these undigested particles of food that are circulating in your system, and that can create more disease and illness. The last time I also shared and updated you about what went on with Zantac and some other prescription and over-the-counter medications here a couple of years ago when they were pulled off the shelf. And they were pulled off the market due to containing a drug ingredient called ranitidine. Now, some of these have been reintroduced into the market since that time, and they have removed the ingredient ranitidine from them, or the drug ranitidine from them. If you have something along that line that's more than a year old, you really want to check the label. And the best thing would be to get rid of it because it may still contain the ranitidine. So ranitidine was found to contain nitrodimethylamine. And so this ingredient that was in these antacids and acid blockers has been linked to kidney disease, to stomach cancer, to bladder cancer, to heart disease, pulmonary hypertension, Crohn's disease, and depression. So it's not a good drug to take, and you really want to stop that. Now, the interesting thing is that we know about 1 in 3 adults take these types of medications. So 1 in 3 adults reach for and use an antacid or an acid blocker. So what we really need to take from that is there are a lot of people out there that are experiencing gut issues. And you're probably very likely one of them or somebody in your family. But now that you understand the issues with antacids and acid blockers, why take them? You know, when you have these kind of symptoms, you really basically have two choices. You either stop digestion to stop the symptoms, or now you know that you have another option, which is to finish the process of digestion. So you can stop the digestion with an antacid or an acid blocker. And then at whatever point that you stop the digestion, none of the nutrients of the rest of the food is going to get to the cells. And like I said, you're going to be having this undigested particles floating around in your body. Or the other option is to finish the digestive process and have all the nutrients from the foods that you've eaten be able to get into the cells for you to use for energy, for metabolism, for fat burning, and whatever else that the body needs to do. So keep in mind, one of those choices is going to cause some major damage to your body. Both stop the pain, but now you know that there is another option that can get rid of the pain, and that answer is to finish digestion and use a supplemental digestive enzyme. That way we're able to break down the foods completely and to be able to use the nutrients that come from them. And so enzymes and probiotics are what can help us in naturally breaking down our foods, especially when the foods don't contain enzymes themselves. So again, we're talking about cooked or pre-processed foods. So it's better to eat more raw foods. Well, you might tell me, well, you know, I had a big salad and I still ended up with gas and bloating and stomach hurting. Well, that can happen if you're not actually releasing the food enzymes or the enzymes from the food as you eat it. So this comes down to chewing. So if you're somebody that just kind of gobbles your food down, takes a few bites and swallows it, you're going to still experience some of that because you haven't chewed the food enough to break down the enzymes in the food. And so the body is left with the major part of digestion. So just keep in mind, digestion starts at the mouth. And so you want to chew your food to help it break down and to release those enzymes to begin that process of digestion. Your gut shouldn't be doing the whole process. So begin with chewing. So chew more, eat more raw foods, and then add back the enzymes that are naturally in the foods through a supplemental enzyme from whole foods. That's my recommendation. So when we react to indigestion by treating the cause of the problem and add back the digestive enzyme. So this is what we're doing. Remember, again, when we take an antacid, we're treating the symptom. But when we look at indigestion and want to trace it back and understand the cause of the problem, and then recognize that it's a lack of digestive enzymes, and we add those digestive enzymes back, what you're going to find is that the pain is going to go away. You're actually going to gain energy and vitality because you're breaking down the food and receiving the energy from the food. You'll probably find that you may even lose a little bit of weight, especially if you're carrying a little extra weight. And you'll just have a feeling of overall improved health. The last thing that you want to do, again, is stop the digestive process. So this vicious cycle of eating and then taking antacids and then halting digestion will lead to other health problems over time. And things like this puts you at more risk for things like weight gain, having difficulty losing weight, being frequently sick or feeling like you're catching every cold that comes around because it really affects your immune system. You might notice signs of premature aging, maybe on your face or your skin. Inability to digest certain foods. This starts to develop over time, and you may notice that you have issues with wheat or the gluten within the wheat products or dairy products, which again is the lactose intolerant. Or continue to develop like food allergies and food sensitivities, where you find that there are certain foods that create more problem for you. And these are all due to a lack of enzymes and not digesting properly. Now, you know that you have a serious digestive enzyme deficiency that's been occurring for quite a while once you have developed an autoimmune disease. Now, when we talk about autoimmune disease, many people think I'm talking about these, kind of vague symptoms. They're pretty rare, and they're things that have crazy names that you might have a hard time pronouncing. But that's not really true. I mean, there are some that are, like some people might feel like Sjogren's syndrome. That's kind of an odd name. But there are actually more than 100 diseases that are classified as autoimmune. So it isn't rare. And the truth is that autoimmune diseases are common health conditions, such as arthritis and diabetes. Arthritis and pain develops due to undigested proteins gathering in the joints. Now, the body recognizes that there's something occurring in the joints, and so it's going to send out the immune system to try to take care of what's going on. But the molecular structure between the food proteins and the cartilage have become too much alike, and it's too difficult for the body to tell them apart. And so it will indiscriminately attack both. It's kind of the same thing with diabetes. Undigested proteins, usually this comes from milk, mimics pancreatic tissue. So it mimics what the pancreas, the cells in the pancreas look like. And that's where your insulin is produced, is in the beta cells of your pancreas. So your body senses your insulin's kind of out of whack, and so it's going to send these white blood cells, again, your immune system, out to try to fix things. But then when it gets there, there's indiscriminate destruction that occurs because the body can no longer tell the difference between what's going on with these undigested proteins and the pancreatic tissue. So it can no longer, so it just damages the cells, and then you can no longer regulate your insulin levels on your own. Heart disease develops the same way due to undigested fats that then you start creating weight gain and obesity. And even without those fats start to collect. And then as they gather and they get spread around in your blood system, if they end up going up to your brain, you can suffer a stroke. Or if they go to your heart, you can suffer a heart attack. Celiac disease is one that's due to undigested grains. So again, people that have celiac disease, often it starts as a gluten intolerance because they're not breaking down the grains properly. And ultimately, they may end up with celiac disease. So that just gives you a sample of how that works with autoimmune disease and how it's related back to your digestive system and having undigested proteins floating around in your body. And it all goes back to the enzymes that are being deficient because they are not breaking down those proteins. So again, all these health issues stem from what you eat, followed by what you're not digesting properly. Enzymes are really the lifesaver. They are the life force. They're the life force in plants and animals, and they're our life force too. So when we start getting depleted on enzymes, our life force goes away, our health starts to deplete, and ultimately it can lead us to death. So one thing is you can choose to eat more raw food. That's the best thing to do, is choose to start adding more raw foods into your diet and ensuring that you have raw foods with every one of your meals. Then you don't have to worry so much about supplementing with a lot of digestive enzymes. However, if you eat cooked or processed foods, then you have the choice between experiencing these digestive, health issues or adding enzymes back via the plant enzyme supplementation. And some of you that may have autoimmune diseases like me may require even, enzymes when you are eating some of the raw foods, just to help supplement that after meals. So again, two of the very best things that you can do to ensure nutrients are delivered to the cells for energy, fat loss, and longevity through proper digestion include more raw foods in your diet and less processed and cooked foods. So if it's a big switch for you, start just changing. If you're eating about 10% raw and 90% cooked, then change that to 80 or 75 and just gradually increase so that you have more raw foods in your diet. And then supplement with a blend of enzymes when you eat cooked and processed foods. So I want to talk a little bit. I've introduced this product before, but I am so passionate about it. It has made an amazing difference in my life and with the digestive issues that I've been experiencing over the last 8 years. So I have had gut issues for about 8 years. I have tried lots of different things, lots of different programs, different eating recommendations, and different enzymes. And these are by far the very best. Now, this formula, again, is done by Optimal Health Systems, and it is a pure plant enzyme. It also contains friendly bacteria, so there's a probiotic in with it, and balanced organic materials to give you exactly what you need for complete digestion, absorption, and metabolism. When you take these, you're going to find that your improved digestion directly increases energy levels and protects the body from premature aging, fatigue, and countless other concerns that happen when we're improperly digesting our foods. You'll notice that your symptoms of lactose intolerance and acid reflux and gas buildup will begin to be reduced as your body starts to digest your food more effectively and efficiently. And it's going to put an end to the hours of bloated indigestion that you have experienced as your body has struggled to try to digest today's industrial foods. And that's one thing we haven't talked a lot about, but because we have so many more processed foods that we're eating, and these foods are stripped of the nutrients, they're stripped of the enzymes, and they have things added to them that make them extra hard to digest and that our bodies were never intended to digest. So that's part of the reason that we're seeing more depleted enzymes levels in people, and that we need to add a supplement. So some of the key ingredients in here I want to go over again because they're just so important, is this contains a plant-based enzyme blend. So all the enzymes that you need to turn food into usable fuel, like protease to help break down proteins into peptides. This includes many enzymes that you're not going to find in other products, and I can validate that. Like dipeptyl dipeptidase, which helps digest gluten. There's lactase to help digest dairy. And there's peptidase, which converts protein peptides into amino acids, and others. So that's just the top ones. This also includes a patented probiotic. Now, this company has something that I don't think any other probiotic company has, but they have figured out how to stabilize the friendly bacteria and the probiotics in here. So these have been proven to survive the harsh stomach environment and implant in the intestines. And that's what they found with a lot of the other probiotics, is once they hit the gut, the acid in the gut kills them. And so they have developed a way in which those probiotics can be protected while they're in the harsh stomach environment. And then once they get into the intestine, then they're able to assimilate and get past the gut wall and then get into the bloodstream. So you're not going to find that in your regular probiotics, even the ones that are refrigerated. These luckily don't have to be refrigerated. But they will still work way better than any of the refrigerated ones that you get. And we're going to talk more about probiotics in another episode. Now, one of the other key ingredients in here is aloe vera leaf. So that is a main source of the organic minerals and electrolytes that are required to activate the enzymes and power the uptake of nutrients into the cells. So this also provides antioxidant and antibacterial properties. It's going to help accelerate healing. So if you've got gut issues, it can help you move more toward healing. It reduces the amount of constipation that you may be experiencing. It lowers your blood sugar levels, and it will improve your digestion. So I thought I would just go over some questions that I've been asked to help you understand a little bit more about this product. So I was asked, if my body is already making and naturally produces enzymes to break down the food, well, why would I need to take digestion? Well, our body does produce its own digestive enzymes, but as I've talked, a lot of times those get depleted over time. And studies have also shown that because of the types of foods we eat, again, these processed and industrialized foods, our bodies are not able to digest everything that's contained in those foods. And so we're going to need some help with these plant enzymes. And when we use only our body to digest the foods, and we're not eating raw, and we're not using a supplement, eventually we're going to become deficient in nutrients because the body will be drawing upon those nutrients in order to try to digest the food as best it can. And so it's going to pull the nutrients from other areas in your body. What about upset stomach? Will digestion help with upset stomach? Yes, oftentimes we experience an upset stomach due to processed foods that we eat. We'll experience gas or a number of other causes having to do with the foods not being digested and other related reasons. So the plant enzymes will help with breaking down processed foods as well as eliminating gas, harmful bacteria, and more. So what about babies and children that have digestive issues? Is this safe to use with babies? And yes, it is. Remember, this is a whole food product. There is no synthetics. There are no drugs. So yes, you can open up a capsule of this and you can add it to a child's food or drink if the child can't swallow the capsule. So some mothers have even used digestion in their infant's formula, and it helps with the bloating and gas. Well, what about if I'm pregnant? Is it okay and safe for me to take this? Yes, it's perfectly safe to take while you're breastfeeding. Again, this is a whole food product. So it's like eating a food. So it's safe. Can I replace my antacids and acid blockers with digestion? Yes, antacids and acid blockers, again, are made from chemicals and synthetic substances, which are not good for your body and can ultimately create harm. They actually may cause more damage and harm by taking the antacids. So we want to use only a plant-based whole food enzyme. And that gives us a natural way of assisting with our acid issues. How about if I've been asked, I have a hard time taking capsules. Can I open a capsule and put it on my food? And yes, you can. That's a great way to take it, particularly, again, if you want to use that for a child or for yourself if you have trouble taking capsules. The only thing I would caution is you don't want to put it on your food until your food's under 118 degrees. So over 118 degrees, it's going to kill these enzymes just the same as the enzymes in your food. And so, but typically we're not eating our food when it's 118 degrees, so we let it cool. So I would let it cool to the temperature that you normally eat and then sprinkle it on your food. Do I need to be concerned about taking too many, or can I overdose on these? No. Unused enzymes are stored in the body and your body will use them eventually. That's the great thing. So if you take 2 of these, but your body only needs the equivalent of 1 to finish digesting what you just ate, it's going to store them. Your body loves enzymes, and it's going to love these enzymes. So how much does it cost? Well, we have 2 options now. This is such great news. This is just brand new, hot off the press. is we have a regular sized bottle and we have a family sized bottle. So I'm super excited about that. For somebody like me that takes and needs them often, it's great to save a little bit of money and have a bigger bottle. So this regular size bottle contains 90 capsules and the cost is $33. The family size bottle, so you can see to compare, saves you even more with 270 capsules for only $75, which equals the cost of 28 cents per capsule. Now, if you take 2 capsules a meal and 2 before bedtime, which some of you may not need that many, but we'll just use that as an estimate. So if you're taking, that would be 8 capsules, and that comes to a meager $2.24. That's less than purchasing a bottle of soda or a cup of coffee, both not being good for you. But for that $2.24 a day, the reward that you're going to reap is that you're going to experience significantly reduced symptoms of heartburn, indigestion, gas, bloating, that food-related fatigue, and food allergies or sensitivities. And at the same time, you're going to be reducing your risk for gluten intolerance that can turn to celiac disease, for lactose intolerance, for ending up with one of 100 of those autoimmune diseases, especially including things like type 2 diabetes, arthritis, psoriasis, inflammatory bowel diseases such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, and many more. So what do you think? What do you think the cost would be for a treatment for any of these ailments? For Crohn's disease, for psoriasis, for diabetes? I suspect it's going to be a lot more than $2.24 a day. So how about it? Is it worth investing $2.24 a day to see the results of this amazing product? I'm going to put the link to both of these products in the description, so look for them there. And I'll also include a code that you can use to get 10% off your first order. So if you're experiencing any kind of digestive issues, I invite you to try these. And I'm happy to help in any way I can, so just reach out. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about supplements. What about supplements? Are they worth the cost? They can get quite expensive. Do they deliver what they promise when you take a supplement? Or are you just making expensive pee? And since they're supplements, they can't cause any harm, right? Well, we're going to be delving into that. And how do you know if you have a good quality product? So these are just some of the topics we'll be going into as we start to talk about supplements. So I hope you have a wonderful day and let's have great health. Bye-bye.